I haven't messed anything up for you guys at home? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so now we have 15 plus a negative 2. So someone tell me, now that we've done 2 of these, how can I rewrite this? Anybody? Jake? Yeah, 15 minus 2. I know a lot of you are probably like, wait, is there a trick here? There's no trick. You look confused, Annalise. What's up? Oh, we can answer them. Okay, so let's go back. First one, what's 3 minus 2? 1, yeah. What's 3 minus 4? It is not negative 7. The reason it's not negative 7, it would be negative 7 if the 3 was also negative. Here, this is like you have $3 and you're taking away $4. It is negative 1, yes. Yep, negative 1. Looks good, Lynn. Okay, 15 minus 2. 13, right. Okay, so now we have a little bit more negative stuff going on. We have 13 plus a negative 2. How could I rewrite this one? Dallas, you can hear me though, right? You just can't say anything? I can always help you with it in class. Owen? Yep, take away the plus sign. This is actually negative 13 minus 2. Now here's, we got some more negatives, so you got to be careful, okay? So something that I like to say sometimes, and it might help you to write this down, we always add same signs. Always add same signs. So if you do 3 plus 4, aren't those both positive? So you just add them. But here we're doing negative 13 minus 2. Aren't those both negative numbers? Yes. But pretend the negatives weren't there. What's 13 plus 2? 15. So what do you think negative 13 minus 2 is? Hannah? Negative 15. Right. And again, don't guess. If you struggle with your negatives, just plug it into your calculator. I'm not going to judge you. Okay, and then this one, little different. We have 2 minus a negative 2. Anyone know what happens when you have 2 negatives next to each other like that, Jake? You do make it a plus sign, yep. That would be 2 plus 2, and guys, 2 plus 2 is just 4. Okay, so that's just a quick refresher with our negatives. So 2 negatives makes a positive. Good. Just getting the cobwebs out after a long summer. Okay. So simplify the following addition and subtraction problems. So we're just going to keep rolling through this. I'm going to have you guys do a few. We're going to do a few together. And then I'd like you guys to try a few on your own, and then we'll check them. So same thing for you guys at home. So you guys at home, if you want to work ahead and then just like look back, you can. So we have negative 2 plus 7. The negative 2 is in parentheses. Do we really need the parentheses? No. So if it makes you feel better, you can rewrite it as negative 2 plus 7. So negative 2 plus 7, what do we think that's going to be? Jake? 5. Yeah. That is just 5. So another thing, you know how I said always add same signs, right? If you're adding positives, just add them. If you're subtracting negatives, add them through the negative sign in front. The same thing kind of happens when you have opposite signs. Opposite signs, always think of it as subtracting. What's 7 minus 2? 5. Doesn't that technically mean the same thing as what's above? It's just written a little differently. The way it's amazing how like just switching the order of things makes it look more complicated. Okay, so look at number 2, negative 4 minus 2. Do we need those parentheses? Nope. So this is just negative 4 minus 2. Always add same signs. What's 4 plus 2? 6. So what do you think negative 4 minus 2 is? Negative 6, right. And again, I'm teaching you guys some strategies for like doing it in your head a little bit, but you know, if you get lost, that's fine. 2 minus 5. Do you guys think that this one's gonna end up being a positive or a negative number? Negative. Why negative, Jake? Yeah, isn't the bigger number technically negative? Right? If you only have $2, but like, well, I'm trying to think. If let's say you have $2 in your bank account, right? But they take out $5, aren't you in debt? So it's negatives. Yeah. So this would be -3. Number 4 is -7 minus 2. -7 minus 2. How could I rewrite this one? Any ideas? You can send it in the chat too if you think you know. Hannah? We can, yeah, we can take out the addition sign and make it a what? A negative, and then do we need those parentheses anymore? Nope. Make it -7. Oh, we're glitching. Make it -7 minus 2. Always add same signs. What's 7 plus 2? 9, but they're both negative, right? So make it what kind of a 9? A -9. Good. How many more of these do we have? Okay. Number 5, 7 minus a -6. What'd you say, Brooke? Or not, sorry, Brooklyn, right? You don't mind Brooke too? Just in case it comes out occasionally. So what did you say to change it to? Well, so close, but don't you have a double negative? Yeah, make it a plus. So 7 plus 6 equals 13. Good. -5 minus 7. Do we need that first set of parentheses? Nope. So it's just -5 minus 7. Always add same signs. What's 5 plus 7? Hannah? 12. So make this a -12. Good. All right. Take a minute. Try out 7 and 8. Okay, so people at home do the same thing. Take a minute. Try out 7 and 8. And then I'd like to hear from you guys at home too. If you think you know something, you can either unmute yourself or type it in the chat. I have the chat up so I can see it. All right, I know we might still be working a little bit. Any ideas on how to rewrite number 7? Owen? Very good. -2 plus 8. That double negative, right? A negative and a negative are going to make a positive. And then what did you think -2 plus 8 was? Correct. Yes. That is a +6. Again, think about it this way. Do you have more positive or negative numbers in this problem? Which one's bigger, the positives or the negatives? The positives. So your final answer is going to be positive. Okay, good. And then 6 plus a -7. How can you rewrite that, Jake? Yeah, 6 minus 7, which is -1. Very good. Good. We good with that? I think we're okay. I can't tell because the people at home aren't answering. I hope people at home are good. If you're not, let me know. I don't read minds, especially through the computer. I can kind of read minds in person because I can like look at you and see if you're confused, but through the computer, I'm not going to know. Thank you for letting me know, Dallas. Okay. So now we're actually going to be solving equations. And you might be like, well, what did we just do before? Didn't we just solve equations? These are not equations. These are called expressions, because is there an equal sign? No, an equation has to have an equal sign. These are technically just like simplifying an expression is what that's called. That's our fancy math terminology for that. Now, when you're solving an equation, you're trying to figure out what a variable stands for, okay? And when we do that, we want to use opposite operations. Do you guys remember ever talking about opposite operations? Like, what's the opposite of adding? Subtracting, okay? So when you solve equations, you want to undo the operation. You want to use the opposite. So Annalise just told us the opposite of addition is subtraction. Hi, Jaden. We're working on the notes. All right, so then guys, what's the opposite of subtraction? Addition. What is the opposite of multiplication? Division. And therefore, what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. Ooh, I really struggled with making that word neat. Too many I's. I think we got some new people here. Jaden, you're here now? I think I saw you log in. Yeah, there you are. Okay, I think maybe that's it. I'll double check attendance again at the end. Okay, so okay, now we're going to focus on solving for a variable. We're going to be doing our opposite operation to solve. So we're on the back page if you have a packet. This is the back. Okay, what's a variable? What's a variable? I've used that word a couple times. Does anyone see a variable on their paper anywhere? It is, yeah, it's a letter. It's a letter that represents what? A number. Yeah, it's like a missing piece, right? So yeah, your variable, that is a letter that represents a number or a value, whichever way you want to say it. So that is a letter that represents a number. And let me know if I ever write something and you can't read it. This stylus isn't like the most amazing thing in the world, so just tell me. Okay, so we are going to solve our equations. So when I say solve an equation, I want to know what the variable equals. I want to know what p equals, or x equals, or m equals, and you'll see I use a bunch of different variables. Okay. So if we're looking at number one, we have p minus 3 equals 14. So we are solving for p. I want to know what p equals, okay? In order to do that, you need to basically get p all by itself on the left-hand side, right? We don't want that -3 there. Annalise? Yeah, tell me. You do. How could we maybe make that 3 cancel? Very good, yes. Now on your homework, you'll notice I said show all work, right? For the time being on this assignment, I'm not going to make you do this all year. If you need to do it, do it. But I physically want to see you adding 3 to each side, at least for this assignment. So what that means is we're going to add 3 on the left. And if we add 3 on the left, we need to add 3 on the right. Okay. What happens with the 3's on the left? Correct. And that's good, Dallas. You're correct. Good. And then how does anyone know then, like, where do I go from here? What do I write now? Yeah, I have p left on the other side. And 14 plus 3 equals 17. And again, I know to a lot of you guys, these ones today are going to be really easy. Okay, they're not meant to be super hard. They're meant to be like a refresher. You've done this at some point. Okay, this is to prepare us for when we're doing much bigger ones in a couple days. All right, let's look at number 2. 7 plus, or not 7, I can't read. V plus 8 equals 16. So again, we're trying to solve for V. We want to get it all by itself. We want to get rid of that plus 8. What can we do to get rid of that plus 8? That's correct, Mason. Annalise? Yeah, we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. Your 8's on the left will cancel, and you're going to end up with V equals 8. Good. Very good. All right. Number 3. Here's where if you were maybe working ahead, you might have been like, what? 7K equals -3. I'm confused. I don't see a sign there. Do you see a sign between the 7 and the K? Don't I need to get this K all by itself though? One second, sorry. You're close. So in order to subtract, you have to have addition. And is there an addition sign there? Does anyone know there's technically an invisible operation there, Owen? Right. 7K technically means 7 times K. And the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Now, how I like to write that, you guys might like to use the actual division sign. I like to use a fraction. And here's why, like a fraction bar. A fraction bar technically just means division. So I'm going to put divided by 7 on both sides like that. Your 7s are gone, and you're going to be left with K equals, and here's where a few of you, Mason figured it out, but here's where a few of you might be like, but is -3 divisible by 7? First of all, isn't -3 smaller than 7? Yeah, that's the first issue. And then 3 and 7, do those even divide into each other? Any ideas on what you could do? Well, first of all, could you plug it into a calculator if you wanted? -3 divided by 7? Sure. Are you going to get a wacky decimal? Yes. So I wouldn't even waste your time. Here's what we're going to do. You end up with something like this, and you're like, -3 is not divisible by 7. Guess what you're allowed to do? Leave it. Aren't fractions numbers? Yeah, a fraction is an appropriate answer. So just leave it as -3 over 7. Good. All right, number 2, you have -2a equals -16. Now again, be careful. It is very tempting on this to be like, oh, -2. I'm going to add it. But wait, what's the problem with that? Jake, you look like you have a thought. Yeah, you're supposed to divide. Just people see that negative and they're like, ooh, add it. But it's not, that's not how this one works at all. You're correct, Jake. This is not a subtraction problem. Currently, this is a multiplication problem. That's correct, Kason. This is a multiplication problem. And the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So divide both sides by -2. Your -2's cancel out and you'll have a equals. First thing, what's a negative divided by a negative? A positive. And what's 16 divided by 2? 8. So it's just a equals 8. Very good. All right, number 5, you have 12 plus b equals 18. What's a little different about this one? Jake? Yeah, exactly. You guys are probably used to seeing like b plus 12, right? But I try to give you guys these occasionally because I want you to know they're no different. Isn't this technically, aren't you adding a positive 12 right now? So what's the opposite of adding a positive 12? Subtracting it, right. So again, we still just want to get b all by itself. That's the objective. So we are going to do subtracting 12. That's correct, Mason and Dallas. They're answering through the chat, so I'm trying to like let them know. So we're going to subtract 12 from both sides, and you're going to get b equals 6. Good. All right, number 6. I threw you a curve again. What's weird about this one? Yeah, p's on the other side, right? Again, you guys are probably used to seeing it on the right. Does it matter? Does x equal 5 mean the same thing as 5 equals x? Yeah. If this really bothers you, what could you do? Could rewrite it. Yeah, if you're like, nope, I don't like it, bothers me, rewrite it, right? Do 3p equals negative 33. But it doesn't really matter. You still just got to get p all by itself, whether it's on the left or the right. So again, focus on the side that has p, right? What's next to p that we don't want there anymore? What number? 3, right? Sometimes you guys will have to speak up because I can't, like, with the masks. Normally I can like kind of like lip read you guys a little bit, but not anymore. So we got to get rid of that 3. What do we want to do with it? Do we want to add, subtract, multiply, or divide it? We want to divide it. This says 3 times p right now. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. And then what's negative 33 divided by 3? Hannah? Negative 11. So this is negative 11 equals p. Or again, if that really bothers you, change it to p equals negative 11. Either way. And Hannah, how'd you know it was negative? Very good, yes. A negative and a negative will make a positive, but a negative and a positive, right, one of each, means it's going to be negative. Very good. All right. Number 7, 0 equals n minus 9. Again, we have another one that's flipped. You don't like it, flip it back around, right? But at the end of the day, we still just want to get n all by itself, whether it's on the left or the right. So just look at the side where n is at, right? You got n minus 9. How are you going to get rid of subtracting 9? Brooklyn, what do you think? How do you get rid of subtracting 9? What's the opposite of subtraction? Addition. So what do we want to add to both sides? 9, yeah, exactly. Add 9 to the left and the right. Good. Okay, so then your 9's cross out, and what's 0 plus 9? 9. So you just have 9 equals n, or if you prefer, n equals 9. Again, if you guys see one of those and you're like, no, I can't wrap my head around it being on the other side, just update it. Make it 9 minus n minus 9 equals 0, right? That means the exact same thing. All right, number 8. Number 8, we have n divided by 3 equals negative 5. That fraction, right? I didn't say n over 3. I said n divided by 3 because a fraction bar technically means division. So what's the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both sides by 3. Your 3's are going to cancel, and you're going to have just n on the left. Do we follow that, guys? Do we understand why that's division? Do we understand that the opposite of division is multiplication? Okay. Normally I get more responses, but I know it's like awkward to answer when there's only 5 of us. Okay, so -5 times 3. What's a negative times a positive going to be? A negative. And what's 5 times 3? What is it? -15. Good. I heard a couple different things. I wasn't sure. -15. Very good. All right, last 2. All right, 9. We have -4 equals -7 plus m. This one is a little trickier. Okay. We want to get m all by itself, right? Okay. What's on the right-hand side with that m that we don't want there? A -7. Now you got to be careful because I see 2 signs, right? Isn't there, ignore the -4 for now. You have -7 plus m. Isn't there a negative sign and a positive sign? How do you know which one you're supposed to do, right? Well, there's a little way to check. Let's say you just see the positive and you're like, oh, okay, you're adding. If you add, you need to subtract, right? Oh, sorry, that's really sloppy. If you add, you need to subtract, right? But wait, aren't we trying to get things to cancel out, like to disappear? Will a -7 make another -7 cancel out? Test it out in your calculator if you don't know what it is on the top of your head. What's -7 minus 7? Owen? -14. So are we really getting rid of anything by doing that? No, so instead of subtracting 7, what should we do instead? Add 7, exactly. And the reason we want to add the 7, remember that very first thing that we did when we decided what sign was more important? Wasn't the negative sign always more important? So here, the negative sign's more important, and the opposite of a negative is a positive. Catching on, Annalise. All right, so now we have -4 plus 7. What is -4 plus 7? Annalise, it is 3. So 3 equals m. Or if you prefer, m equals 3. And then last one, guys. We have 4 equals x over 9. Remind me, what's that weird little fraction bar actually mean? Division, right? What's the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. What do we want to multiply both sides by? 9. All right, the 9's on the right will cancel. And what's 9 times 4? Close. 36. 36 equals x. Or again, if you prefer, x equals 36. Good. Good. Looks like you guys at home are getting it. Thank you for responding. Okay, so last thing, guys, and then I'll take any questions or any more questions, okay? And by the way, at any time, if you have a question, ask it. You might not today, but in the future you will, okay? I can guarantee you someone else has the same question. I promise. So last thing we're going to fill in, when solving equations, we need to do 2 things. 2 main things we need to remember. Thing 1 that we need to remember is we want to get the variable. Correct. Get the variable by itself. What's the other thing we need to make sure we do? What do we want to use? Starts with an O. What kind of operations? The same ones? Opposite ones. Good. Use opposite operations. Excellent.